Just when you think it couldn't get worse, it does.
Housing affordability in Australia has reached a record low.
Housing crisis.
Housing crisis.
Housing crisis.
Why has it become so difficult to afford a home? And what can we do about it? In this video, we'll dive into the latest data and insights, uncover the key drivers of the housing affordability crisis, and explore potential solutions that could help everyday Australians. Let's begin by exploring just how bad things have become for various household groups in Australia.
When you break down the housing market, not everybody's interest is the same.
First, let's look at renters. According to the Rental Affordability Index, affordability has sharply worsened across Australia since 2021, and it has hit record lows in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. For the first time, Perth has seen the steepest decline in affordability, dropping by a staggering 13%, and has overtaken Sydney as the least affordable city to rent in. SGS Economics and Planning offers a fascinating interactive map that provides a more detailed and local perspective on rental affordability. For instance, if you're a pensioner couple renting in the Greater Sydney area, the map reveals that nowhere in Sydney is considered affordable for you. The best rating you will find is unaffordable. You can switch to a profile that matches your circumstances, or click this button to view affordability by the number of bedrooms and household income. For example, if your household income is $120,000 and you are searching for a 2-bedroom rental, the map highlights suburbs with varying levels of affordability. If you're curious about a specific suburb, simply enter its postcode and the map will display how affordable your desired rental is for your household income. This tool provides a clear and practical starting point for exploring rental options tailored to your needs. Be sure to check it out, and I'll include the link in the description box down below. Now turning to first home buyers. It just feels like there is an endless series of hurdles for them to overcome. First, the rent affordability crisis significantly reduced first home buyers' capacity to save while renting. On top of that, stagnant wage growth and rising living costs further erode their ability to save for a deposit. Adding to the challenge, rising property prices continually shift the goalposts for saving a standard 20% deposit. This prolongs the time required to save the minimum deposit, making home ownership feel increasingly out of reach. Even if they manage to save the deposit, rising interest rates have slashed the borrowing capacity by as much as 30% since 2022. As a result, many are unable to borrow enough to purchase a property, even with a deposit in hand. And for those who manage to break into the market and become homeowners, they begin to face a different kind of pressure: mortgage repayment affordability. Mortgage rates are now at their highest since 2011, with many families on variable rates exceeding 6%. Repayments have surged, with some households spending 50% more than they were just 2 years ago. New research from Royal Morgan shows 26.8% of mortgage holders are now at risk of mortgage stress. The financial burden is immense. That's an increase of 707,000 mortgage holders since May 2022, when the RBA began a cycle of interest rate increases. Today, the official interest rate stands at 4.35%, the highest it's been in over a decade, since December 2011. Finally, let's talk about homeowners with small remaining mortgages, or those who own their homes outright. Over the 2023 and 24 financial year, home prices increased by 6.6%, adding around $50,000 to the median national home value. Rising property prices increase home equity. While this may boost net wealth, for many families, their homes are a necessity rather than an asset that can be sold for profit. As a result, for many, this so-called equity is nothing more than a number on paper. So why has housing become so unaffordable? The root causes can be traced to both demand and supply. On the demand side, persistently low interest rates over the past 2 decades have played a major role. From October 2012, Australia switched gears into loose monetary policy, and interest rates have been below 3.25% for a very long time, hitting a historic low of 0.1% during the pandemic. This cheap money made borrowing easier and fueled a surge in property prices, with national home values increasing by 39.9% from March 2020 to March 2024. Although interest rates have begun to climb, they have done little to tame property prices. While we are no longer seeing double-digit annual growth, the growth rate remains largely positive, indicating that property is still becoming more expensive. This brings us to the other forces at play causing the housing affordability crisis. Immigration has also significantly impacted demand. Australian borders were reopened to most travelers from February 2022, giving rise to a period of record net overseas migration. In the 2023 financial year, overseas migration added a net gain of 536,000 people to Australia's population. In the 2024 financial year, it added a further 446,000 people. This influx created an unprecedented demand for housing, particularly in the rental market. Rental properties quickly become scarce, driving rents up and increasing pressure on the housing market overall. On the supply side, the availability of well-located land is a critical issue. While Australia is a vast continent with diverse landscapes, a significant portion of our landmass is not suitable for human settlement or agriculture. 87% of Australians live near coastlines. Over half of Australia's population lives in just 3 cities: Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. The availability of jobs, infrastructure, and essential services leads to intense competition for properties in major cities and urban centers. Compounding this is Australia's cultural preference for space and detached housing. Unlike countries that embrace high-density living, Australians often prefer suburban lifestyles. This has led to sprawling cities with limited housing in prime locations, further pushing prices up. Resistance to new developments, commonly referred to as NIMBYism, not in my backyard, adds another barrier. Local communities frequently oppose high-density or medium-density developments in their neighborhoods, leading to delays or cancellations of projects and creating further bottlenecks in housing supply. Another significant factor is high construction costs and labor shortages. Builders are grappling with rising material costs and delays, making it harder to deliver new housing on time and within budget. This has led to a slowdown in housing completions, further straining supply. Finally, government policies have also contributed to the crisis. Tax policies such as negative gearing and capital gains tax concessions have incentivized property investment, often at the expense of first home buyers. These tax advantages make property investment highly attractive, increasing competition and driving up prices. Zoning restrictions and slow land release further hinder the construction of new housing. Despite some efforts to release more land, the pace of development has not kept up with demand, leaving the housing market increasingly out of balance. The housing affordability crisis is a tough reality, but an examination of the underlying drivers reveals that these are the outcomes of the choices we all made together as a society. Choices about where we live, how we design our cities and suburbs, how we design and regulate urban land, and how we tax land and housing investment. Even how we elect governments and use our votes to influence their policies have shaped the landscape of Australians' housing affordability. If we want a better future, it's clear we need to make better and more intentional choices. So what needs to be done at both government and individual levels next? To tackle the housing affordability crisis effectively, Australia needs a multifaceted approach. First, increasing the supply of affordable housing is critical. This requires faster planning approvals, incentives for developers to build more affordable housing, and reforms to zoning laws to allow for higher density developments in well-located areas. Second, addressing labor shortages and construction costs is essential. This could involve investing in training programs for the construction industry and streamlining supply chains to reduce material costs and delays. Third, managing immigration levels to align with housing supply is crucial. While immigration is vital for economic growth, housing policy must account for the additional demand it creates. Finally, tax reforms could play a role in curbing speculative investment in the property market. Adjusting negative gearing and capital gains tax could reduce demand from investors and make it easier for first-home buyers to compete. For individuals navigating this challenging housing market, there are a few strategies to consider. For aspiring homeowners, looking into more affordable regional areas can open up opportunities that might not be available in major cities. Regional markets typically offer lower property prices and a higher quality of life, making them an attractive option for many families. Focusing on building savings through strict budgeting and exploring government assistance programs can help accumulate a deposit faster. Understanding the market and consulting trusted resources can also make a significant difference when entering the property market. For existing homeowners, shopping around for better rates and refinancing can help ease the burden of rising mortgage repayments. Ultimately, while the housing affordability crisis poses significant challenges, informed decision-making and strategic planning can help individuals navigate this tough environment. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.